just on two or three quick things. One is on loss and damage. Just like perhaps if you could just confirm, Mr. McLaughlin, that loss and damage is not in any sense aid. I know that one of the issues of concern that was made as well in terms of other aspects of our climate financing is that climate financing is meant to be new and additional. But Ireland has described doubling the share of ODA that could be dedicated to climate action. So the importance of clarifying, first of all, that, climate finance is different from aid, and specifically loss and damage funding is different from and additional to and separate from aid. And then just on that loss and damage, I'll be honest, the answer is really unsatisfactory. It's extremely unsatisfactory. The fact is, this idea of negotiating as part of the EU, it is not the case that Ireland cannot take, this isn't a trade negotiation. These are negotiations in respect of the UN. We're part of the EU, but we're also part of the UN. And Ireland sought a position, for example, on the Security Council by very much strongly pitching that we understood and were connected with other countries in the world. We are also one of the only EU countries with a direct experience of colonialism, which is very relevant in the context of what has been called climate colonialism or carbon colonialism in the using up of the fair share and the creation of damage for the developing world. So I'd like to just you to confirm there is nothing stopping Ireland from, as Denmark did, playing a role in the EU position. And I would argue Denmark taking a strong stance probably helped push the Council to improve its position. But there's nothing to stop Ireland individually giving recognition in terms of loss and damage and a loss and damage payment, while also pushing for a better EU position. And explicitly, I'd like you to say, will Ireland support, it's not a brainstorming of ideas, this has been called for a long time, a loss and damage facility. Will we be backing the 130 countries who've called for that when they call for it again, when that decision point comes? Or will we be only doing what some others in the EU are doing, even though others such as Denmark in the EU are supporting a loss and damage facility? So I just need to I think we need to be clear on that as a committee. Ireland performing a fabulous secretariat role, in the background is meaningless if Ireland doesn't actually have a position. Then on specifically human rights, I welcome the fact that there's a focus on human rights in what you've said. I'm wondering in the texts of the negotiations, because I know that I saw in previous COPs, there'd been a kind of concerted effort to not refer to human rights in some of the texts, including in areas such as gender. Will Ireland be supporting a better human rights language in what's coming through? And explicitly, will Ireland be signing the Declaration on Children, Youth and Climate Action that's been developed by Youngo, UNICEF and the Children's Environmental Rights Initiative? So you mentioned young people as a focus. This is going to be a specific opportunity to sign something that will be meaningful. And again, will Ireland, it'd be better if we'd signed it in advance of the COP. And again, multiple special rapporteurs from the UN Human Rights Council have also highlighted the importance of this. Then lastly, just on the methane, Ireland signed up to the methane, Ireland signed up to the methane 30% cut by 2030 last year. Are we going back to the negotiations and discussions alongside those we discussed it with ideas of how Ireland might achieve 30% cut in methane by 2030 itself, if we have signed up to that?